etc. Take a look at the minutes here. I look for an approval or a motion to approve the May 15th, 2023 village board meeting and file the April 5th, 2023 Parks and Rec Board, the May 1st, 2023 Finance Committee meetings as presented.
I move that we accept the minutes.
A second.
The motion and second, any discussion, corrections?
And I will abstain since I'm not addition.
Very good, and welcome, Clark. We're happy to have you on our board. So we have a motion and a second and an abstention. Look for a vote here. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Right. Anybody requesting to be heard? Mr. Salahasi, please stand, come up to the rostrum here to here. Yes, please.
Please put a copy, and I'm gonna read it just slightly different than what I gave you, so I'll make you copies or something. Just a letter to the board. Grafton has not seen a drought as severe as we have currently seeing since 2008, 2009 time frame. I like to keep my yard and flowers looking good, as I'm sure most of the residents of Grafton like to. This not only impacts our yard, but also the overall look of the village to visitors. However, due to the policy change years ago of charging both water and sewage fees for all water used year round, most of us do not want to water or sprinkle due to the cost. This change in charge is slightly under $3 per thousand for water prior to almost $11 per thousand now. I was not aware of this billing change at the time when it was made and I was sprinkling, and my impact on my bill was over $500. Prior to this change in policy, Grafton usage of average sewer cost calculator from winter usage for the summer months and then charged water separately. Since a drought like this does not happen often, I would like to formally request that the village consider a temporary change back to average sewer usage charges and actual water usage charges for the month of June at least. If the drought continues into July, then it can be extended to that month and so forth through a maximum at the end of the month of August. I do believe that the overall look for properties in Grafton would improve and present a positive image of the village to not only the residents, but also to the visitors. Thank you.
Thank you. Steve, could you just state your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve Salamasi, 1127 4th Avenue.
Thank you, Steve. As this is a person requesting to be heard, we can't take any comments on this, but certainly we'll get this under consideration.
Thank you.
For your meeting or thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you, sir.
There is no business presented by the president at this time. We'll go to resolution ordinance action items. I'd like to take both of these resolutions together if we can, but I'd like to need a motion for that. I need a offer, a motion and a second. We'll do that first.
I'll offer.
Oh, make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have an offer, a motion and a second, and I will ask Mr. Clay and Mr. Bartline to meet me over here. If you wouldn't mind. We'd love to recognize you for your fine work. We're gonna go community board age, so let's do Al. Yeah, go for it. So, this Al, a resolution for his years of service to the village of Grafton. Whereas Al Clay stepped down from the village Grafton Planning Commission after serving of the village of Grafton from the beginning of May 2012 to April 2023. Whereas Mr. Clay also served as a village trustee from 1976 to 1988 and 1990 to 1998. Grafton Public Works Chairman from 1982 to 1988 and 1990 to 1998. County Board Supervisor for District 12 from 2000 to 2012. Was Ogden County Public Works Committee from 2000 to 2010. Has been serving on the Community Development Authority since 1998 and will continue to serve on the Community Development Authority. I'd like to get further resolved for the village board and village staff and the village of Grafton. Hereby wish Mr. Coletti the very best. Thank you for all his contributions to the village. Wow.
You know, somebody who I know for a long time, but Grafton is my town. So I was really concerned. And
So we have a lot of stories, but. If you allow me just to say a little bit, back when before I was on the village board. There was a guy by the name of Carl Wagner, who was our fire chief. And he came to our plant, he says, Al, I want you on the village board. I told him, well, Carl, I just don't know if I'd get any votes or not. And if you knew Carl, all the firemen were his boys. So Carl said, all my boys will vote for you. So that's how we got on the village board. And when the getting on the county board, Lou Hira had to break away from his term. And he just called me, he said, no, I'm having you take my place. So, and then Jim Bronco put me on. So we have a lot of memories.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks, Al.
Yeah.
And not to be forgotten is Tom Bartlett.
Yeah.
Tom's chosen to step down from the Village of Grafton Architectural Review Board after having served the people of Grafton, Village of Grafton, and the community from January 2001 to April 2023. That's 22 years. That's a long time. We're really happy that he served us during your tenure as on the Architectural Review Board. This department had a positive impact on the character and quality of development in the village. And Mr. Bartlett has served on the Zoning Board of Appeals since 2015, and he'll continue to serve on the Zoning Board of Appeals. And he also has volunteered a significant amount of time to Grafton Lions Club to benefit the Grafton community. Both of you guys have. We really appreciate that. So be it further resolved, the village board, village staff, and the village of Grafton, we hereby wish Mr. Bartlett the very best and thank you for all the contributions. Thank you so much. We'll see you the next. Thank you.
All right, next on the agenda here is a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of $5,085,000.
Excuse me, Mr. President. Excuse me, Mr. President.
Resolution commending both of you gentlemen. I need a vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Well, the ayes have it. Now we'll get under the resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of $5,085,000 in general obligation bonds, series 2023A. Justin, can you take this away?
Certainly, this is as introduced, we have gone to market for the sale of general obligation bonds to fund various projects here within the village of Grafton, including $1.1 million for street improvement projects, $2.62 million for sewerage projects, consisting of sanitary sewer projects, and $1.365 million for water system projects, all collectively within the resolution that is being presented this evening. Our finance director, Mr. Studahar, is here, as well as a representative from Ellers, who is able to speak to the specifics of the bond themselves.
All right, I'll take it from here. My name's Harry Allen with Ellers. Joe was here last time. Unfortunately, Joe had another commitment, so I'm his replacement. But we had a good sale today. We got 7 bids, which is always a good thing. Whenever you have more than 3, it means it was really competitive. There's a lot of interest in the deal. And all the 7 bids came in within 6 basis points of each other. So they're really, really close to each other. Lots of bids. That means you got a good price in the market. The final interest rate came in at 3.75%. When we modeled out in the pre-sale, we had based that on a sale from April for a similarly rated community. And we added 50 basis points to that rate, trying to be conservative. However, with some of the things that have been happening this year, with the debt ceiling not being raised until really late in the process, that put a lot of uncertainty into the market over the past 2 weeks. We've seen interest rates go up and then come back down this week. So we think that is all sorted. That's not impacting rates right now. But what is impacting rates is an expected 0.25% interest rate hike coming next week. So that's already priced into the interest rate. So that's really where we think that higher rate came from, is just that additional interest rate hike coming here in a week. We can, you have a sale day report, so we can flip on to a page that looks like this. And I'll talk about some of the important numbers here. When you went to market, you had a slightly higher par amount. That's the principal amount that you were issuing of debt. You went to market with $5,085,000. Based on how the underwriters priced today's bonds, you received what's known as a underwriter premium, which means they're paying you additional money than the face value of your bonds. And so you can use a portion of that to decrease the amount of debt being issued. So you went to market for $5,085,000. Now you're only issuing $5,025,000. So it's a little bit less debt. And there's some different rules as to how you treat that premium. So the first thing you can do is decrease the amount of debt you're issuing. But then if there's an amount left over from the amount that you're allowed to decrease it, that has to go into the debt service fund. So that net amount is going to be used to offset the first year of debt payments. So that'll just buy down the interest a little bit. Other changes since the pre-sale, some of the cost of issuance came in just a smidge higher related to bond counsel and disclosure counsel. So that added $2,100 to the issue. And then we can flip over to the next page. And this is looking at the total cost of the bonds over the full term. And it's at 7.04 million. That's the principal amount of $5,025,000 plus the interest, less the amount that's going into that debt service fund. So this is approximately 111,000 higher than we had in the pre-sale. And that's because it's a 0.20% higher rate than we showed it there. Another reminder here is you are issuing some debt for the utilities, so sewer and water. The anticipation is that that debt is paid by those utilities, so it's not hitting the general property tax of the village. The only portion of the debt that is going to be paid by the property tax is that streets portion, and that's amortized over 10 years. That's really all I had for you all today. If you have any questions, I'm happy to take them.
Do we have any questions at this time regarding this IFC? All right.
One reminder I'll make is the motion has to be for the updated par amount, so the $5,025,000.
So it's 525,000?
Yep.
Okay. So I believe we're looking for approval of this resolution at this time, correct, Jesse?
Correct.
We'll need an offer, motion. Second.
I'll make the offer.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Here we have an offer, a motion, and second. Any further discussion on this? We'll take a vote on this. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, carries. Very good. All right, next online, Jesse, we have the report of the finance committee.
Yes, and I am just getting to it right now. Coming to the village board this evening out of the finance committee is a recommendation to approve a reimbursement from the village for the property owner at 1108 Sunset Court. This is Mr. Bloom's residence, whereby the amount requested is not to exceed $3,673.50. This is for reimbursement for reconstruction of his driveway approach. The utility project had gone through his neighborhood. At that time, the property owner asked, please do not replace the driveway approach. I will be doing the entire driveway as a project, wanted everything to match accordingly. And then with that, came back, made a request to the village for this reimbursement. And it is a project cost that the village would have incurred anyway. As we go through, if we have to take out a driveway approach, within the right of way in order to facilitate utility installation. We replace that as part of our project cost. So this request is legitimate, and it does have its merit. And so therefore, as discussed at the Finance Committee, a motion to approve the request for reimbursement in an amount not to exceed $3,673.50.
And this was approved unanimously at the Finance Committee, and also I see that both trustees Fenton and Armstrong were present for the Finance Committee. So at this point in time, is there any motion to approve the property owner at 1108 Sunset Court request for reimbursement from the village in the amount not to exceed $3,673.50? I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. On this, I know there might be somebody here who abstains from that.
Yeah.
So it'll be an abstention, and the reason why.
I should recuse myself, because we're friends and I just feel that unusual.
Very good. Anyone else on that? Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. Aye, opposed. Thank you very much for that. And for our next agenda item, it looks like we have Department Officers Report. So we'll start here. This is something a little unusual, but Lisa and I have talked about this, about doing a report on the Mid-Moraine Legislative Committee and also the dinner meetings. It's really good. In the past, we've gone to these and we've not gotten a lot of feedback from the trustees that have attended. So we'll just, I'll start off here with Lisa, go with the Legislative Committee, and then I can probably handle finance if you want to.
Yeah, we can fill in.
Yep.
Yeah. So, Mid-Moraine Municipal Association is a group of communities that have been in existence as a group together for a while. They have meetings maybe 8 times a year. They take a little bit of the summer off. And they also have a legislative committee that meets every few months. The committee, the association, consists of communities within Washington County and Ozaukee County. The communities are currently Cedarburg, Fredonia, Germantown, Hartford, Jackson, Kewaskum, Newburgh, Port Washington, Stockville, Slinger, Deansville, West End, Grafton. It's funny because it's not on our little number list. So we had a dinner meeting a few weeks ago. We were supposed to have Bruce Robo come and give us an update on the shared revenue and what we could expect to see out of our legislation. He was still working on that, so we had a representative stand in for that. And things are still changing by the minute. So we didn't have any hard and fast numbers as to what we could expect with increased amounts of money for our shared revenue. President Delore was able to get in contact with Mr. Canotto, and he did give us some updated numbers. So the Village of Grafton, the existing county and municipal aid is approximately $290,000. That comes to the municipality from the state. The supplemental amount that we would be getting would be $302,000. For the town of Grafton, the existing county and municipal aid, approximately $53,000, supplemental aid, $103,000. So there is a good chunk of money that can be added to the village. I think the thought is that people would like to use that for roads. We have gotten aid in the past from the federal government for COVID. There's a lot of that money kind of left over in the bank. I believe that what was reported was they have a surplus of $7 billion in 2023. And that money does not include the $1.7 billion that they also keep in a separate account that they kind of call a rainy day fund. So there's a lot of money that can be distributed to municipalities. And Washington County at the last election did an advisory referendum, and they asked their county to give them a percent of the sales tax, which is normally given to the county. Now our county government gets a percent of the sales tax. We did not formally make a resolution to ask them for a percent of that for our community, but Washington County communities did. And it was advisory, so it doesn't stand, but it was, I think, 87%. Of all residents voted to have the county give some of that revenue to the municipalities in Washington County. And what we're being told is we will still get part of that, even though we did not have our own advisory referendum. Because that will be distributed to all the communities. So we're looking to get a surplus.
Yeah, I think what's happening is that the state is starting to decide, the state decided that they want to share 1%, a certain part of the 1% sales tax. Because the counties, the municipalities and the townships all went together and lobbied separately. What we're finding out is that each municipality gets X percent of the 1%. The minimum level is 15% of that 1%. And of course, mostly the townships are 1.5% of that 1%, based on what they're funding they have.
And I also wanted to say, for some of the newer trustees, this is a really cool committee. I feel like anybody can go, any elected official, and probably anybody can go. It's a really great opportunity to meet other people from other communities, see how they do things, listen to what they do, their ideas. It's really interesting. Dan, you've done it for the last few years since you started. And they have a dinner. The legislative committee is only a 2-hour meeting. They don't serve a meal. But it's really great networking. So I'd recommend you guys, I know you've gotten a little email from Katie, just really a fun thing to, I hope you guys can do it.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, Dan.
Jesse, on to the village administrator report.
Certainly. And actually a nice segue with regards to Mr. Knodel, who is now a state senator. His former seat as state representative is up for special election, which is scheduled for July 18th. The clerk's office has kicked off their preparations to handle that special election. That was not on anybody's radar screen, so they are preparing, making sure everything goes very smoothly. So that's a little bit of a curveball for them, but they're on top of it and making sure we are ready for July 18th. The pool is open to schedule June 9th. We're pretty excited about that. Some last minute troubleshooting with our heater, but everything else is coming together very, very nicely, and they are on track for opening this Friday. In conjunction with that, speaking with our Parks and Rec director today, summer recreation programming kicks off in earnest next week. This week is the end of the school year for the different levels of school. And so with that, programming starts again in earnest next week in conjunction or following the closure of the school year. Last but certainly not least, I'm actually pretty happy to report this. The bids for our garbage and recycling service RFP that we put out are due this Thursday. Staff will be reviewing the bid results and bringing them forward to the July Board of Public Works meeting, and then in turn to the village board. This is to our service contract with Waste Management is coming to an end at the end of this year. That said, we wanted to go out for bid. The contract was ending, but also obviously as we've had ongoing service concerns with Waste Management. So that said, excited to see what the results are. Frankly, in speaking with other communities, the town of Grafton, city of Port Washington, we do expect a price increase. There's no way around that. But what the extent is, we won't know until we open those bids, which are due later this week. So again, in July, Board of Public Works will be taking up those bid results and making a recommendation to the village board. Then it times out where we will have a hard and fast number to place into the budget. That is why we timed it out as a mid-year bidding process for especially for something as substantial as this service. That way we have a good number to place in the budget this fall when we deliberate the 2024 budget. So that is my report for this evening.
Very good. Thank you, Jesse. Moving on to licenses, vote to approve to issue the operator's license Any background on this, Jesse, or just pretty much a straight up floor?
Pretty straightforward. All of the individuals listed did pass the significant background check carried out by the police department on behalf of the village. And it comes with the police department's recommendation. So all of those folks listed, lengthy list, have passed muster and are available for approval.
Very good. I'll need a motion in a second. It's on the table. I'll make a motion to accept.
I'll second.
A motion and second. Any discussion on this at all? Yeah.
Jesse, is there a good reason why this month is particularly long compared to others, like it's the usual time of year?
I'll defer to the clerk.
Half of our licenses are up for renewal. Well, all licenses expire on June 30th. So I would say at 90% of people on this. They're not new licenses.
Thank you.
So a motion and a second. I'd like to have a vote on this. So all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. On to our next item here is to discuss the temporary expansion of premises distillery. Jesse?
Yes, there are actually two requests from the distillery for two special events. One would be in July, which would be an Operation Ride Home event, and one in August to benefit the American Cancer Society. That said, both of these requests have been vetted by staff, being the police department, clerk's office, community development, with no concerns. Therefore, the action requested is to approve the expansion of premise for the liquor license establishment doing business as the distillery on the dates as listed. This is required action because their license basically states they can serve alcohol inside. They're looking at creating an outside space cordoned off and segregated from the rest of the area, but it is an expansion of what is allowed for underneath their original liquor license, hence the additional action being brought to the
It's
board.
nice to see a little bit of action taking place down at Paramount Plaza. So that's a nice touch. Seeing these motions, that these actions are pretty similar. Anybody mind if we put one motion? Okay, so I'll take a motion to approve the expansion of the premise for the liquor license establishment at distillery for July 13th, 2023 from 3 to 8 p.m. and also August 13th, 2023 from 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. Motion in a second, please.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. A motion and a second. Any discussion on this?
Just to clarify, they can serve liquor in their little seating area outside. This is just an expansion.
Correct. Correct.
You're talking about selling it outside, correct?
This is to sell it outside. The outdoor seating area that they have, it's purchased. That purchase happens inside. They can consume it in that seating area. That is part of their liquor license premise, if you will. These two events are an expansion of that where they can actually sell it and serve it outside.
Jesse, will they be able to, will citizens be able to access that area only from the inside of the distillery and come out and around and within that area?
I'm sorry, Katie, yeah, please.
That's, if they're gonna have a cordoned off with cones,
Mhm.
they're gonna have like caution tape and cones to cordon off the area. And they can only buy the alcohol in the establishment. They can drink outside, but it'll be in, and they will have people around checking. Okay. It will be limited at, I mean, anyone can go, but, for selling the alcohol, it has to be done in the office.
And Katie, just to clarify, what trustee Hardback, I think, was asking that you will not be able to access the outdoor drinking area, or consumption area from outdoors. You have to enter the establishment and then go outside. I think that's correct.
No,
Or you can
we-
enter from outside as well.
Yes, and maybe send it outside, but they're gonna have it cooled off, so you can't.
Can't
Wander in.
consume outside of the cones.
Right, so they don't end up kind of inhabiting the entire Paramount Plaza. It is a designated area, correct? Yeah,
What I'm hearing is that there'd be a host or hostess outside that would be then.
there will be strict oversight.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes, yep. It is really about so that they don't, again, inhabit the entire Paramount Plaza. It is keeping it cordoned and close to the distillery establishment. Mhm.
All right, any further discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. We're on to item B because we took B and C together. Item B, the issuance, approve the issuance of renewals for the various establishments attached for Class A, Class B fermented malt beverages, Class A and Class B of intoxicating liquor, and Class C wine licenses for the July first, 2023 to June 30th, 2024 licensing period, subject to the satisfaction of all inspections and outstanding financial obligations to the village as presented. Justin, take it away.
Sure. As President Delorit mentioned, the liquor license period is from July 1 to June 30 of the following year. That is the term for a liquor license. These are a set of renewals that are being brought forward for various types of liquor license that the village does offer. And this is a very coordinated effort among staff and outside agencies. We have building inspection, police, fire, and as well as the state of Wisconsin representation doing together, carrying out inspections of each of the locations that have a liquor license to make sure there is compliance, whether it's building codes, fire codes, village legal ordinances and whatnot, but also state of Wisconsin rules and regulations. That's why we have the state as part of this, I guess, in essence, inspection team. So it's an excellent joint effort, very efficient. And with that, the recommendation is here before the board to approve the issuance of the renewals as listed, subject to the satisfaction of all inspections and outstanding financial obligations to the village of Grafton.
So, quick question here. I do see that you had an update by 2023 for fire department. I do see initially the fire department was kind of had some open inspections, and those have all been completed now.
Yeah, they submitted their inspection report late Friday afternoon, so it's not to the bias.
Thank you very much. All right, so we have a motion here to approve the issuance of renewals for various establishments attached for Class A, Class B, malt beverage, Class A and Class B intoxicating liquor, and Class C wine licenses for July 1st, 2023 to June 30th, 2024 licensing period. And again, subject to satisfaction of all inspections and outstanding financial obligations to the village of Grafton. Need a motion in second.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
We have a motion in second. Any discussion here? Jim.
We had this last year about the amusement situation that we had at all these bars on the machine for amusement only. Has that been checked out thoroughly?
That is a separate distinct issue. This is strictly with the liquor licenses, but I do know Attorney Herbrand is able, sorry, I'm still getting used to you being at the dais. My apologies, as I'm staring around. Attorney Herbrand can speak to that discussion we had last year. There is a review that we're looking into with that, and Mike can speak to it.
Yeah, yes, speak on that now, or if you want to take that up separately, but I think what Trustee Miller is referring to, the village has an ordinance regulating and registering amusement devices. Amusement devices is defined by our ordinance are things that might take a little skill and you play them and you might win a small, not very valuable prize, like the claw machine or a pinball machine or the skee ball machine. So we're just remind you. Then there's separate devices called gambling devices. A gambling device is where you can win obtain something of value for some chance. Those are prohibited in our ordinance, as they are by state law. But as it turns out, the enforcement of gambling devices is done by the Department of Revenue by state law. It's delegated to the Department of Revenue, not to a local municipality. So I know that you might patronize a local establishment and see a gambling device and wonder how can this be? Well, it may be illegal, but it's not necessarily for the village to enforce. Now, if we're collecting, when we collect our registration fees, I actually brought along the application. You're free to take one and pass it on. The applicants at least represent to us that these are coin-operated amusement devices. We might we don't do much investigation as to whether devices, contain something of value or don't. But that's currently how it's done. Whether the board would want to look further into our application process or our ordinance, it's a little antiquated. The first coin operated devices, which coins that are getting antiquated. So, we could certainly do that, but I'm just sort of providing a little history of the ordinance and how we got prepared. I would say, for the record, it's a little separate from the, their action at this moment is on the liquor, license. But I know there has been ongoing discussion of amusement devices.
And I think currently under 5.20.010, there's the discussion of who can actually approve those, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, from our perspective, the village prohibits gambling devices, so we're not, when we receive fees, as I shared the application, the thought is that we're collecting fees on amusement devices. But admittedly, we don't do much of any investigation as to what's happening with these devices. And why not? How they do so.
President, since this is not an agenda item and we really can't discuss it, can it be put on a future
Yeah.
agenda item so we can maybe vent this out?
Absolutely.
I would recommend that we look very carefully at 5.20.010 to see if in fact we do want to change the code on that. And I would recommend that the future agenda. So that's something we can bring up on, and that I would recommend that. And the matter at hand would be to approve the current ones that we have, the current on our agenda. So
Correct. The liquor licenses are the agenda item right now, in which is before the board.
So we have a motion.
I have a question.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yep.
So, with the updated IFC, the fire department did give us a list of establishments with open fire inspection violations. So there are 7 or 8 of those. And do these have to be corrected by July 1st?
They have to make an expense, to correct, that they're given 30 days on most of their fire inspections. They have a 30-day, which puts us past the July 1st. So pretty much we can't deny a liquor license based on, not being up to code with building, electric or fire codes. We can deny it based on not having paid financial obligations to the village, such as property taxes. Or utility bills, we can deny it based on financial factors, we can't deny it based on building code. But this gives the village the opportunity to go in and make sure corrections are made to the establishments, and there's, business owners to I would say 99% of the time come back and make those corrections, and I hold on to these licenses. So I know that will definitely.
So if the fire department gets called back to re-inspect, will they give you a report and say, these businesses now pass?
Yes, they will. And same with the building, the department, we pass the inspections.
Okay. It's actually kind of ironic that, we will withhold a liquor license for monetary reasons, but not for a problem with like fire inspection.
Right.
That's a little bizarre.
It is a little bizarre, and that's all.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any further questions on the licenses for Jim?
So we're voting right now just on the liquor license,
Correct. Yes, sir.
not the amusement.
No, sir. Nope.
No. So again, would you like me to repeat the motion on this? Or are we good? We're good, okay. So we have a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're on to the approval of use of the tobacco, the cigarette and tobacco product list. So it's pretty much straightforward, I believe it's done in the past here. Right?
Yes, very similarly, these individuals and parties have been vetted and are being brought forward for the board's consideration with the recommendation to approve.
Okay, I'm looking for a motion to approve the tobacco licenses.
I'll make a motion.
To approve.
I'll second.
Good motion in second, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Great. Now, on to the report of bills. See that there was some communication going back and forth. We're looking for an approval to, motion and second to approve the village expenditure.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second. Your motion in second, and are there any further discussions of, I hope now what was sent and answered today, the email?
Yes.
Yes. Jim?
I definitely liked what I saw. We got, Jesse, we ordered some new lifeguard chairs.
Yes, sir.
There was a blank in there as far as, how do we know what to approve when we don't know the number?
There were 5 chairs purchased. The blank there is what the total number of lifeguard chairs at the pool are. I hit send before I gave Chad a phone call. My apologies. I did not. I can get the total number of chairs at the pool. Only 5 were purchased for replacement.
So we'll have the same amount of chairs that we've had.
Yes, correct.
They're just new chairs.
Yep, 5 new
I'm not sure
chairs.
about that. I think we have more lifeguard chairs now than we've had in the past. Do you agree with that or not?
I don't know, sir. I know 5 were purchased and that is the
Yep.
expenditure that is listed in the report of bills. 5 were purchased.
I agree that 5 have been purchased, but previously there was lifeguard stands at the pool that I don't see.
We can discuss that at the Park and Rec Board. I am not in a position right now.
Don't know.
Well, sir, the expenditure is for 5 lifeguard chairs. That's exactly what the expenditure is for. Nothing more, nothing less. Whether there's a reallocation or reorganization of the chairs or stands at the pool, that would be something for the Park and Rec Committee to discuss.
Mr. President, I believe that there was 5 that were deteriorated. To the point where they wanted to order more. That was actually my question. I was just wondering how many,
Yep.
there was a discussion about how many to change out and get
Mhm.
new ones on, so I didn't know what the final amount was, so it's found.
So I would think at this point, if there's an issue that needs to go back to discuss that Park and Recreation, we do take that back to Park and Recreation, Committee, but right now we're looking to approve the finances.
Which is the purchase of 5. Yes,
So,
correct.
What I do is we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on this? All right, then, we'll vote on that. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That motion carries. All right, I'm looking for a motion to adjourn at this time.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second. We are all in favor. Say aye. Aye. Okay, we only from.
Pretty good, Clark.
No, 45 minutes.
It's not.